Ever wondered what happens behind the closed doors of one of the world's largest cigarette factories? You're not alone. With around 28.3 million adults puffing away in America annually, the allure of cigarettes is hard to ignore. Did you know the tobacco products market worldwide is projected to generate a whopping $965 billion just this year? But what's the secret sauce that keeps people coming back for more? Let's dive into the fascinating world of cigarette production, exploring not only the intricate process, but also the strange tobacco products lurking in the shadows. Any guesses who's the biggest manufacturer of cigarettes in the US? History of cigarettes. Long before the white sticks became a global product, smoking was profoundly ingrained in ancient traditions. The Mayans and Aztecs, who lived centuries ago, were among the first to use tobacco leaves. For them, smoking was more than just a recreational activity. It was spiritual. Tobacco was commonly used during sacred ceremonies, as it was thought to bridge the gap between the living and the divine. But how could something so sacred become the everyday cigarette? Italian explorer Christopher Columbus encountered tobacco in 1492 when the Arawaks gave him dried tobacco leaves as a gift. He saw the indigenous tribe of the Caribbean smoking the substance through Y-shaped tubes. His crew and he tried it out, and were enamored. They brought it back to Europe. It immediately became the most recent trend, spreading like wildfire across the continent. However, it wasn't simply for fun. Previously, tobacco was supposed to offer medical benefits. People use it to treat a variety of ailments, including headaches and stomach difficulties. Smoking was viewed as a cure-all. Imagine a period when smoking was thought to be beneficial to your health. As Europe adopted tobacco, America followed suit. Industrialization enabled mass production, which became a mainstay of American society. Smokers discovered a new convenience. Tobacco was now neatly wrapped and ready to light up at any moment. The cigarette had evolved into more than just a product, serving as a symbol of status, relaxation, and even revolt. Advertisements featured gorgeous movie stars smoking cigarettes, making them a necessary accessory for individuals seeking to appear sophisticated. However, not everything was as glamorous as it appeared. Scientific advancements in the 20th century revealed a darker aspect of cigarettes. Researchers began to associate smoking with a number of health hazards, including lung cancer, heart disease, and respiratory disorders. The once-believed therapeutic miracle had devolved into a ticking time bomb. Smokers were now confronted with a harsh reality. Each cigarette may cut years off their lives. As public awareness increased, so did efforts to reduce smoking. In the second half of the 20th century, anti-smoking efforts began to warn people about the dangers of cigarettes. Governments established rules, prohibiting cigarette advertisements on television and radio, and requiring health warnings on cigarette packs. Following World War II, tobacco corporations began promoting significantly on television. Camel Cigarettes sponsored the nation's first regular television news show, Camel News Caravan. It showed an ashtray on the desk in front of the newsreader, John Cameron Swayze, with the camel emblem behind him. The 15-minute news show aired from 1949 until 1956. In response, beginning in 1967, the Federal Communications Commission used a part of its fairness doctrine to mandate all TV stations to screen one anti-smoking public service message, at no expense to the organizations that provided them, for every 3 cigarette advertisements they ran. In 1969, bills circulated on Capitol Hill prohibiting all tobacco advertising on television and radio. In that year, tobacco companies were the single most prominent product advertising on television. Initially, the tobacco lobby, aided by legislators from tobacco-growing states, was successful in obstructing congressional action. However, Big Tobacco came to realize that an on-air ban would free up funds for advertising and other media. It would also eliminate anti-smoking public service announcements. The tobacco lobby relented, sensing that public opinion had shifted against them. Under pressure from public health campaigners, Nixon, an 8-bowl-a-day pipe smoker, reluctantly agreed. Finally, in 1970, President Richard Nixon signed the Public Health Cigarette Smoking Act, which prohibited cigarette advertisements from being broadcast on television and radio. After the imposition of the television ban, cigarette advertising continued to appear in magazines, newspapers, and on billboards. However, in 1999, many cigarette billboard advertisements were replaced with anti-smoking messages. Some featured parodies of cigarette companies' slogans. Despite these restrictions, the cigarette business fought back, motivated by revenues and a deep-rooted smoking culture. Strangest tobacco products. While lawmakers and social activists focused on restricting cigarette advertisements, Big Tobacco got creative and diversified its portfolio. Soon, the markets began flooding with other tobacco products, some of which became quite popular, and the tobacco companies found another gold mine to profit off of. When you think of tobacco products, your mind likely goes straight to cigarettes, cigars, or chewing tobacco. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll uncover a bizarre world of tobacco products that range from the quirky to the downright absurd. These strange items not only reflect the creativity of tobacco enthusiasts, but also showcase the lengths to which people will go to indulge their smoking habits. Let's explore some of the most peculiar tobacco products that will have you scratching your head and chuckling in disbelief. One of the oddest tobacco products is snuff, a finely ground tobacco that is inhaled through the nose. While snuff has been around for centuries, its application can be downright strange. Imagine a party where instead of passing around a joint, guests are pulling out little containers of snuff and taking snorts. The sight of people sneezing and trying to play it cool is both hilarious and perplexing. Not to mention, the concept of using tobacco in such an unconventional way is something most people wouldn't consider when they think of tobacco use. Then there are cigarillos, which are miniature cigars often marketed as a lighter alternative to full-sized cigars. But what makes them truly strange is the variety of flavors available, from chocolate to tropical fruit. Picture someone puffing on a pineapple-flavored cigarillo at a beach party, looking more like they're indulging in candy than tobacco. It's a curious collision of taste profiles that can make you question who the target audience really is. Do people genuinely want their smoke to taste like dessert? Speaking of odd flavors, let's not forget about tobacco-infused beer. This concoction is just as bizarre as it sounds. Brewers infuse their beer with tobacco leaves to create a unique taste experience. Imagine cracking open a cold one that gives off a whiff of ashtray mixed with hops. This strange marriage of flavors is an acquired taste for sure, but it's fascinating how creative people can get when trying to combine two vices into one experience. For the truly adventurous, there's tobacco candy, a product that takes the cake for the strangest tobacco-related item. This candy looks like regular candy, but contains real tobacco. Picture a child, or an unsuspecting adult, munching on these sweet treats, blissfully unaware that they're actually consuming a dose of nicotine. The absurdity of mixing candy and tobacco illustrates just how far some manufacturers are willing to go in an attempt to make tobacco appealing to a broader audience. Next up is tobacco toothpaste, a product that claims to freshen breath while delivering a hit of nicotine. Imagine brushing your teeth and thinking, nothing like that fresh tobacco flavor to start the day. The idea is amusingly bizarre. Minty tobacco toothpaste next to regular minty ones on store shelves would surely elicit a chuckle. Who needs mint-flavored freshness when you can have that smoky goodness in your oral hygiene routine? It's the little joys in life. Now, while the products are strange, the world of smoking is also filled with strange beliefs and misconceptions. You might think that after all the precision and care taken in production, everything is straightforward. But let me tell you, the myths surrounding smoking are as colorful as the packaging itself. Strange beliefs around smoking. Believe it or not, the market isn't just full of bizarre tobacco products. There are quite a few unhinged myths and beliefs about smoking that will leave you amused. If you've ever sat around with a bunch of smokers, you've probably heard some outrageous statements about smoking that sound more like urban legends than scientific facts. You recognize the type. If you smoke menthols, you can run faster, such as cigarettes are just fancy sticks of celery. While these ideas may appear silly, they reflect a strange combination of humor, denial, and the human mind's incredible ingenuity in justifying practices that are, in fact, highly damaging. Let's look at some of these crazy smoking myths, which are not only funny, but also shed light on the lengths people would go to justify their decisions. One of the most ludicrous beliefs is that smoking may cleanse your lungs. Consider this scenario. A smoker takes a deep inhale, exhales a cloud of smoke, and says, "Ah, just cleaning out the cobwebs." The irony is evident. Rather than detoxifying, smoking clogs the lungs with tar and other harmful toxins. The idea that inhaling smoke could act as a cleansing agent is analogous to believing that pouring soda into a car engine will help it run better. However, the notion remains among others, demonstrating a comedic disconnect from reality. Another humorous fallacy is that smoking can help you lose weight. Many smokers joke that they are not only lighting up a cigarette, but also smoking away the calories. This odd logic implies that each puff negates the previous slice of pizza they ate. The truth is that while nicotine can momentarily lower appetite, smoking's long-term harms far exceed any temporary advantages. In fact, they may be giving up the opportunity to live a healthy, active lifestyle. But hey, at least they can persuade themselves they're only one drag away from a slim figure. Then, there's the perception that smoking makes you appear sophisticated or cool. This misconception is so common that it's almost comical at this point. For decades, films and pop culture have glorified the image of a smoker leaning against a wall, cigarette dangling from their lips. In truth, smokers are like characters in a slapstick movie. They stumble through life with ashtray breath and nicotine-stained fingertips. The disparity between the apparent beauty and the actual repercussions of smoking produces an amusing contrast that is difficult to ignore. Some smokers have even come to believe that certain cigarettes, such as menthols, grant them superpowers. Menthol cigarettes are like the superhero version of smoking, people might exclaim, believing that these minty smokes bring extra energy or improve performance. The notion is funny, but in reality, menthol cigarettes can be just as dangerous, if not more so, than normal cigarettes. The idea that a flavor can change cancer into something lovely is not only ridiculous, but also hilarious. Let's not forget the old wives' tale that smoking might help relieve tension. Sure, taking a break and going outside for a smoke may feel like a mini vacation from the daily grind, but it's a temporary solution. So, the next time you hear someone espousing the benefits of smoking, remember that it may be time for a reality check, or at least a good laugh. Cultivation and harvesting. Now that we've established that smoking is not good for you, despite all the ingenious rumors claiming it can make you a superhuman, let's find out how exactly does a harmless tobacco leaf end up becoming the small cylindrical health hazard we see in shops. The journey begins not in factories, but in North Carolina's lush, sprawling fields. Springtime marks the start of a remarkable process that transforms tiny seeds into the familiar products found in millions of hands. The change demonstrates the artistry and skill that goes into tobacco growing and cigarette production. As the sun rises over the flatlands, professional workers put on their gloves and equipment, ready to begin the precise task of planting. Trays loaded with rich soil await the gentle embrace of tobacco seeds, which will shortly begin their life journey. The magic begins with an automatic seeding machine that carefully distributes seeds into each prepared tray. It's a symphony of productivity as the seedlings grow in a greenhouse, drenched in warmth and light. For 7 weeks, they grow, absorbing strength from the dirt and basking in the sun until they are ready for their next adventure, transplantation. With the coming of summer, these seedlings, which now resemble sprightly 5- or 6-year-old toddlers, are whisked away by a planting machine. Each small plant is buried in the soil, ready to receive nutrients and develop strong. By July, the fields come alive as tobacco plants begin to flower. However, this is more than just a period of growth. It is also when farmers begin a key process. They use cutting machines to carefully remove the plant's tops, maximizing the nutrient concentration in the leaves below. Simultaneously, they use growth inhibitors, a delicate balance of nature and nurture aimed to maximize production. As the days pass, the vivid green leaves begin to change. A bright yellow color indicates that harvesting season has arrived. With precision, a digging machine plunges into the dirt, lifting the mature plants and delivering them to waiting containers on trucks. This year's weather has proven favorable, offering a healthy harvest that glimmers with the possibility of success. When the bins are full of freshly harvested tobacco, the next leg of the journey begins. The trucks return to the warehouse, where the drying process awaits. The leaves are dumped onto a conveyor belt, which transports them to a big chain container where they will transform. However, drying tobacco is not an easy operation. It demands skill and care. To facilitate this critical process, wood is burned beneath the floor, providing heat that permeates into the leaves, allowing them to lose moisture without losing their fundamental essence. This thorough drying process can take anywhere from 5 to 8 weeks, during which time the leaves are prepared for the next step, their final destination, the cigarette factory. As the leaves dry, they are moved to a pressing machine, where they are further transformed. They are squeezed into tidy square bundles, awaiting their fate. Are you ready to find the truth about what happens behind the factory doors? Stay tuned. Processing the leaves. As tons of these leaves roll into the processing plant, it's like the opening act of a grand performance. The real show is just getting started. Upon arrival, the first order of business is sorting the leaves. Think of it as a high-stakes game of Tinder for tobacco. Workers meticulously sort the leaves by size, type, and quality, determining which ones will make the cut. It's a ruthless elimination round, but that's just how the leaf crumbles. Once the sorting is done, the overly dry leaves are lightly steamed or moistened, like a spa day for tobacco. This crucial step ensures they become pliable and ready for the next phase. Imagine the leaves enjoying a luxurious steam bath, emerging refreshed and rejuvenated, ready to take on the world, or at least, the manufacturing line. Next, the conditioned leaves make their way to a stripping machine. No, it's not a scene from a late-night cabaret. This machine separates the precious tobacco leaves from the stalks. Now comes the fun part: blending. The stripped tobacco leaves are cut into tiny pieces, paving the way for a symphony of flavors to come together. Blending is an art form in itself, akin to mixing the perfect cocktail. Skilled technicians carefully create unique blends, striking a balance between taste, aroma, and burn rate. It's a delicate dance that requires precision and expertise, ensuring every puff is a pleasure. But hold on to your hats. The manufacturing process is where the real magic happens. Picture a bustling factory floor where machines hum like a well-oiled orchestra. The blending process is fast-paced and highly automated, turning leaves into the familiar shape of a cigarette with astonishing speed. It's like watching a culinary wizard prepare a gourmet meal. As the machine whirs and clanks, the leaves transform from their natural state into the neat, cylindrical forms we all know. It's a whirlwind of activity, with the leaves being fed into machines that roll, pack, and cut them with almost robotic precision. And while some may bemoan the automation of jobs, there's something undeniably impressive about watching technology streamline what was once a labor-intensive process. Cigarette manufacturing. While the heaps of leaves are transformed into a smoker's favorite shape by machinery, The process of getting the cigarettes ready for sale in the market still needs intensive labor by factory workers. Let's see how they manage to churn out tens of thousands of cigarettes in a single day. In a busy factory, workers move fast, and up to 20,000 cigarettes are produced per minute. The voyage starts with an important step, making a long tobacco rod, which is just a long tube of tobacco wrapped in paper. This process begins with a large roll of paper up to 7,000 meters long. To put it into perspective, that is long enough to span over your garden. As the paper unfolds, workers apply a line of blended tobacco to it. The rolling paper then wraps around the tobacco to produce a neat cigarette rod, similar to wrapping a gift, but with tobacco instead of a toy. Once the lengthy rod has been formed, the cutting procedure begins. The machine works like a quick chef, slicing the rod into smaller pieces, each ready to produce a beautiful tiny cigarette. But we're not finished yet. Filters are applied to both ends of these cigarettes, similar to placing a cap on a bottle. These filters make the smoking experience smoother and more pleasurable. Now, don't forget the finishing touch, tipping paper. This special paper wraps around the filter, giving each cigarette a finished appearance. It's not only for show, it provides comfort and makes each cigarette appear neater. After all, if you're going to smoke, you may as well do so in style. As these freshly produced cigarettes leave the production line, they prepare for the crucial quality control phase. This is where the actual job is done. Only the greatest smokes make the cut. Each is thoroughly inspected to ensure that it meets the high standards that smokers expect. But before we get into quality control, take a moment to observe the factory's hustle and bustle. The machines are usually busy, and the employees are dedicated to ensuring that everything operates smoothly. The entire procedure is a careful mix of speed and precision, with one error potentially causing a problem. Nonetheless, everything works together to produce a popular and well-known product. So, as these freshly rolled cigarettes enter the quality control section, they know they are about to face their final test before being placed on store shelves. Quality control and packaging. Quality control. In cigarette manufacturing, it is more than just a formality. It is a demanding procedure that assures every puff is perfect. Each cigarette is examined with a keen eye, looking for flaws and ensuring it meets the high standards required by smokers. First, the smokes are meticulously organized in little groups, each nestled close like best buddies preparing for a night out. They are then carefully wrapped in foil, which is not just for show. This shining covering preserves their freshness and aroma, ensuring that everything is just right for the buyer. After all, who likes a stale cigarette? Talk about a buzzkill. The cigarette packs are transformed after they have been wrapped. They are meticulously built and coated in protective film to preserve their lovely aroma. Consider it like wrapping a gift. You wouldn't want your friends to smell the cake before they had a chance to unwrap it, right? This protective layer is essential for retaining the fresh, seductive aroma that smokers seek. But the fun does not end there. These newly packaged cigarettes are then boxed up in cartons and ready for distribution to stores and convenience stores across the country. It's like a mini vacation for each pack as they travel from the factory to a store shelf, patiently waiting for their new owners. And, to be honest, every smoker understands the joy of ripping up a new pack. Largest producer in the US. Now that we know how ordinary tobacco leaves are processed to create a hazardous but incredibly profitable product, let's find out who is the champion of the big tobacco industry. It all started when Richard Joshua R.J. Reynolds, the son of a tobacco farmer in Virginia, sold his interests in his father's company in Patrick County, Virginia, and moved to Winston-Salem in 1875 to establish his own tobacco company. He purchased his first manufacturing facility from the Moravian Church and opened the Little Red Factory with seasonal employees. In his first year, he produced 150,000 pounds of tobacco. By the 1890s, production had climbed to several million pounds annually. The company's production facilities were the largest in Winston-Salem, with innovative technologies like steam power and electric lighting. The second principal manufacturing building was the oldest Reynolds factory still intact, and it was sold to Forsyth County in 1990. In the early 1900s, Reynolds purchased the majority of Winston-Salem's competitive tobacco factories. The corporation manufactured 1/4 of America's chewing tobacco. In 1907, Prince Albert smoking tobacco became the company's national showcase product, prompting high-profile advertising in New York City's Union Square. Camel cigarettes become the most popular in the country. The Reynolds firm imported so much French cigarette paper and Turkish tobacco for Camel cigarettes that the federal government declared Winston-Salem as an official port of entry for the United States, despite the city's location 200 miles inland. Growing at a miraculous pace, Reynolds Tobacco became the largest tobacco company in the United States. It is now a fully owned subsidiary of Reynolds American, after merging with the U.S. operations of British American Tobacco in 2004. Despite its success in the industry, the company has faced several lawsuits. For instance, in 2002, the company was fined $15 million for handing out free cigarettes at events attended by children, and was fined $20 million for breaking the 1998 Master Agreement, which restricted targeting youth in its tobacco advertisements. Between 2001 and 2011, the European Union filed 3 lawsuits against the company, accusing them of selling black market cigarettes to drug traffickers and mobsters from Italy, Russia, Colombia, and the Balkans. However, R.J. Reynolds emerged victorious in this legal battle. Despite the health concerns and outrage, the company is successfully generating around $26.18 billion in annual revenue and employs around 4,000 people. Future of smoking. We talked about the past, but how about the future? Let's start with the vapes. What was once a small sector has grown into a big trend that is attracting the attention of both smokers and non-smokers. These sleek, colorful devices claim to offer a healthier smoking experience. That's like saying a cheeseburger is good because it has lettuce. But hey, vapes come in a variety of sweet flavors, from watermelon to cotton candy, so it's difficult for some people to resist trying them. As vaping technology advances, we're seeing a growing number of products that provide customizable experiences. Consider a gadget that allows you to control the temperature, flavor intensity, and even cloud size. It's similar to the Tesla of smoking. However, innovation raises a number of problems and challenges. Health experts are still trying to figure out the long-term implications of vaping, and while the technology appears promising, the truth remains foggy. Now, let's look ahead to the future of manufacturing. Robots are pushing their way into tobacco manufacturing as if it were the hottest nightclub in town. With robots that can roll, pack, and quality check cigarettes in real time, the human touch is being replaced by cold steel and software. These robots can make hundreds of cigarettes in minutes, prompting the question, if machines perform all the jobs, what happens to the workers? However, the tobacco industry is not without its challenges. As concerns rise about the environment, will tobacco products be served like good wine, freshly rolled, and presented with style? Consider a future in which tobacco is treated as a gourmet experience, with tasting notes and artisanal blends. Instead of buying a pack at the corner shop, consumers might sample a variety of custom tobacco experiences. It's like how we now enjoy artisan beer and specialty coffee. The future may come with a series of items that allow you to indulge guiltlessly while puffing away. Companies are testing organic tobacco and biodegradable filters. They aim to reduce the environmental impact of their regular products. Some companies are even planning to use hemp as a tobacco alternative. The future may see a sustainable tobacco market. It would let people smoke without a huge carbon impact. Now, let's face the elephant in the room. Will cigarettes be extinct? It's a valid concern. Society is growing more health conscious. Anti-smoking laws are tightening. Many experts believe that traditional cigarettes will vanish. A world of vapes and other alternatives will remain. But is extinction actually the answer? Cigarettes may confront enormous obstacles, but they also leave an indelible legacy. So, if cigarettes become rare artifacts of the past, where will they go? Consider this: a tobacco museum documenting the progression of smoking, from hand-rolled cigarettes to the futuristic vape pens of tomorrow. As we consider the future of tobacco, it is evident that change is in the air. Vapes may dominate, robots may take over production, or new, sustainable goods may lead. One thing is certain, the smoking scene is changing fast. So what do you think? Will cigarettes survive the test of time, or will they become extinct and just exist in museums? Please let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.